Welcome to Mind Your Heart podcast, your favorite corner of the internet where we chat about all things mental health. I'm Emily.
And I'm Trina. Together, we're like your real-life Lorelai and Rory Gilmore. Each week, we'll bring you real conversations about the world of mental health, and we will peel back layers on topics like anxiety, depression, and much more.
We're here to chat with you about the tough stuff, the everyday stuff, and everything in between. So grab your emotional support water bottle, I know we have ours, find your comfiest chair, or keep your eyes on the road, and let's get into it. Are you ready, Mom?
Absolutely. Join us as we mind our hearts and hopefully make minding yours a little easier. Welcome back.
Welcome to Mind Your Heart.
Welcome to Mind Your Heart.
Happy Monday or any day that you're listening to this.
Mondays are just good because Mondays are good to mind your heart.
Yeah.
I'm Trina.
I'm Emily. How's it going?
It's going all right. So we often batch record our episodes.
Often, we always batch record.
We always do, yep. And then, so last week was a hard one. Yeah, so it was a difficult one, and I know I have a friend who's like, I can't listen because my mental health is already like shaken, and I'm like, okay, but yeah, I don't think they're all hard and heavy.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But that stinks for that person.
I think so too. I think so too. But maybe she will listen in to this batch. Yeah. Well, she can skip last week.
Maybe not last week.
Maybe not last week.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this week we're going to be talking about family vacations. And just all the array of things that happen on family vacations. So I've been recently, in the last 10 years, first of all, I didn't even know. I always really wanted to travel and go places. I felt like I would get frustrated with your dad who wanted to go to Orlando, Disney, every single vacation. And I wanted to go other places. And then we went one other place. We went to Myrtle Beach, and I hated that. So I was like, I wanted to go. I think he goes now. Like, he travels now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm like,
doesn't he like not like to fly? Isn't that like a thing?
I don't know, but I think he's fine with it. He hadn't flown a lot. Like, his first flying thing was to come help me in Atlanta when I was moving from Atlanta back to Bradenton. And but I guess he flies now, like, a lot. I know, I was surprised. So anyway.
The only reason I say that is because I remember when it would have to be like, it was very rare that he had to do something for work like that. But like, I remember he had to fly for work, and he had like told, maybe it was me or all of us, that he was like feeling a little bit nervous about flying in particular. I don't know if that's.
You could be totally right. And I just don't remember that. But
I mean, maybe that's changed. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it has, because he seemed like he was fine with it. But anyway, so I didn't do a lot of traveling. I mean, we traveled when I was little because I was born in Texas, and then we flew, went to England, and I lived in England, and then we flew to Florida, and then went to North Dakota. And so I flew. Yeah. I traveled in that, but not. I mean, I don't remember that. I was little.
Yeah.
I know when I lived in Kansas, Wichita, I hated it. I was like, I don't like Kansas. It's flat and boring, and if you're from Kansas, I'm so sorry. I just didn't want to. And when we went to Kansas, for his celebration of life, it's not like scenery that.
Yeah, I know. It's just not my preferred state for sure.
So,
people there were nice.
Yeah, that's true. People were very nice.
The people there are nice.
They were very nice.
The actual state itself is not attractive. The best. Yeah.
But then I started traveling when I got divorced, and mainly because of my brother, and my and his wife at the time, and mainly because of them. They would fly me to California and New York, and we went to Hawaii, and that was unbelievably beautiful. So I felt really grateful for those
I want to go to
experiences.
Hawaii.
Hawaii is so beautiful. It's like another world. It feels like
Yeah.
another world. It's
Well,
just
they like really care
they
about
do.
the
They're very
earth.
strict about
Yeah.
like what you can bring in and out of Hawaii.
Yeah.
But it was
As they should be.
as they should be, yeah. It was very beautiful. And then and then when I like left school system and I went to Colorado and that was really beautiful as well. And so I feel very lucky to have been to lots of places in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Lots of really pretty, like all over New England. That's really beautiful, and the fall foliage and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and then I've gone, to Quebec City with my mom and Steve, and that was really fun. And I'm getting ready to go to Mexico. Actually, when this comes out, it'll be like just a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm excited about that. I had been to Mexico before on my senior cruise, and
Like you're seeing like for college or for high school?
high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean they don't do that anymore. Can you even imagine?
No.
I mean we caused enough mayhem in the '90s, but but now would be like
Yeah,
no
I
way.
know. I'm like 18-year-olds on a cruise to
Yeah,
Mexico by themselves.
yeah, and it's a drink you can drink
Yeah.
over. Yeah, so it was. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we made a mess, and then yeah, lots of exciting things on the horizon, and then like Ireland. So I've been like planning a trip for Ireland, and I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
So excited. There's so many things I want to see in Ireland, and yeah. So anyway, so traveling has been a really special thing. Well, this past summer we had a family vacation. Actually, we've had a few because we went
Yeah.
to Baltimore for Thanksgiving
Yeah,
last
yeah.
year. I
Hmm.
thought that was fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree, but I also was like, I wished that we had a car. Jake and I had a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we, at the time, were not old enough to rent a car or like be on any rental car. So it felt like it was like we either had to be where everybody else was or in our room. And that was like not
Yeah, because you feel kind of
the
trapped.
best. Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a Uber friendly
No.
area. Because we were
places
kind of out in the
far.
country.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was so pretty. The place that we stayed
Yeah,
was
it's so pretty,
beautiful.
yeah.
And like it was nice to like walk around there, but it's like there's only so much that you're gonna
Yeah.
do, like
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was the part that we were both like, like we wanted some time to just like do stuff the two of us, but we
Yeah.
didn't really get to.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that's part of what we probably should talk about with family vacations, and that is like having some boundaries, like setting some boundaries,
yep.
because it can really be easy to not set your boundaries and then get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I've realized some things for myself that I too need like time by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I need time by myself, and I've gotten so much worse at this actually. I was just telling Nanny this the other day. I'm like, I can't be all together in one house. Like I
Yeah,
need
it's rough.
I
Because
need
then
a
you don't
separate
have
space.
any space
Yeah.
that's like just to you. I thought that about this past. I honestly, okay, so this past time
Mm-hmm.
that we went to the beach house, I feel like was the most cramped.
Yeah.
Because when we stayed in the house last summer,
so pretty.
it was like 3 different floors basically.
Yeah.
So like people were separated more.
Yeah.
And so it didn't feel
That's
like
true.
as bad to like I would go back to that house. Like
Yeah,
I would be fine staying in that because you and me and Jake were like in those rooms on the mid-level,
Mm-hmm.
and then Nanny and Steve, I feel like they were either like down or like across the house. And
I
then
thought they were just right across the hall. Maybe you're right though. I don't have a good picture of where they were.
when Dex and Amelia came, they were all
Yep.
upstairs.
Yep.
So it was like more separated.
Yeah. You were physically able to separate.
Yeah.
Because there was not just the main floor, there was also upstairs, and then there was one way downstairs too.
Yeah, it
By the
wasn't like
pool.
a full like floor, but it was like the floor of like the pool, and then it was like just like kind of a living area.
Plus, it was a huge area. It had a ping pong table.
Yeah.
Like, it had a lot of.
Yeah.
Although I liked being on the canal because
Mhm.
then there was
That was
paddleboarding and
nice.
things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you need a little more. I think it needs to be a little more spacious.
Yeah.
Because even that house, that very first house, the pink house, where there was the ground floor, and then there was an upstairs where I was, and the
Yeah.
laundry room, and then there was another layer
Yeah.
where you and Jake stayed. I don't know if you stayed.
I don't think
You
so.
might not have stayed, but you could have stayed. And there was another level of the house.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think the like a more spacious might be. I just think also like being alone for so long. Um, like I used to get so mad at your dad when I couldn't talk to him in the morning. Like he was like he had to do his have his like ritual and his
That's how I am.
yeah, and that's how I am now too.
Yeah.
I'm like I can't talk yet. I haven't had my coffee. I haven't gotten situated.
I didn't know he was like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We're very similar in like
Yeah.
schedule wise,
Yeah.
which is also interesting.
Yeah.
Because like I can be up late.
Yeah.
Like, he used to do that.
Yeah.
And then he would
He
like.
can't now.
He can't.
No, he has to go to bed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't now because Jake doesn't like to go to bed late.
Yeah.
Like he wants to be in bed like at like 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
All right.
Fine.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah, so I like to, and I also like to wind down in the evening, and like I like to go to my room pretty early, like 7:30, and I like to read and I'm like done. I'm like done with talking with everybody. I don't want to talk anymore. Like I don't, yeah.
Where I'm like, that's like my time
Yeah.
to thrive. I'm like, now I want to do something.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, that's the thing that's difficult when we are on a family vacation is that like you and the nanny and Steve are like ready to do stuff by noon. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just getting up.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
good morning. Like,
And we're like, come on, Emily, what time are you going to wake up?
Yeah. Yeah, because to me, I also think it's interesting to know like how people view vacation.
That's a good point. Good point.
Because I am a vacationer that I don't want all this structure.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to know that I can sleep to whenever the hell I want.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to care. And we'll figure out where we want to eat based on what I'm feeling like I want to eat. And we'll do something spontaneous if we want to. And if not, then we'll just be lazy and do nothing.
Yeah.
Because to me, like, doing stuff feels like work.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I want a vacation where, like, I don't have to do stuff.
Yeah.
And then if I want to, like, I just choose to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I need to have, like, this structure. Whereas some people are, like, they want to jam pack it full of activities.
Yep.
And I don't like that.
No, it's stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and Nanny and Steve definitely like activities.
Mm-hmm.
They are an activity they
Well,
like
and
to
then
know.
the thing that...
Also, it's hard when you're trying to get reservations. So I understand.
But then I'm like, just go somewhere that doesn't need a reservation. Like, or just, like...
It's really hard in some spots.
Plan ahead.
Yeah.
But that's because you guys are very strict with the time that you eat.
That's true.
Because for me, I'm like, okay, well, let's say we don't have a reservation. Like if Jake and I are on vacation, we're like, okay, we don't have a reservation somewhere, and we want to go eat somewhere like kind of nice. And I'm like realizing this at like 5, and I'm like, okay, well then like we'll go at 5, and then like if we have to wait for like 30 to 45 minutes, it's not a big deal because like we would be fine eating at like 7:30.
Yeah.
So like
you're right.
We're a lot more flexible on the timing.
And not in the morning. You're not flexible.
No, because I don't want to wake up early.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to wake up early.
So I'm more flexible.
I mean, like, flexible
in the
on, like, when we're gonna have the meals. Like, I'm like, it doesn't have to be at the same time every day.
Yeah, and I'm pretty scheduled. Not pretty. I am scheduled.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, my blood sugar gets low, and you saw that happen earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get grouchy and shaky sometimes. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think I make it difficult in that sense where I'm like, I need to eat by 5 or 5:30. And
no, it's not 5:30. It's 5.
It's 5, yeah.
We need to have already ordered. And like the food's about to come, and it's gonna be 5 o'clock.
All right, yeah. So,
because
okay.
if it's 5:30, then you're getting into danger
by myself.
zone.
Yeah, I can go eat by myself. I'm fine with that.
We don't mind eating. Like, that's the thing. I don't mind eating early. But then, like, Jake and I are like, it's like 9 o'clock and now we're hungry again.
Yeah.
Because, like, 5 o'clock is so early for us.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, even on a weekday, like, I'm not even done working.
Yeah.
At 5.
Yeah.
So, that's like a late lunch.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. So, okay. So, having boundaries and understanding people's perspective of vacation. Because I was thinking about that even, and also like I need some alone time. Like
Yeah.
I definitely need to like plan something by myself and not
Mm-hmm.
worry. That's why the trip to New England, the family vacation to New England was the best because well, Steve and Nanny had plans with some friends one of the days, so I didn't see
Yeah.
them the whole day.
Yeah.
So I I went horseback riding and then
Mm-hmm.
I found my own place to eat, and
Yeah.
I think we might have met for dinner and that was like perfect.
Yeah.
So that was good. And yeah, so I really enjoyed that. But like even looking at the plans for Ireland, I like found like figured out places to go and I actually posted it on Facebook and someone's like, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't do this in 2 weeks." And I was like, "Oh wow, okay." But there's so many things I want to see.
Yeah.
So I'm like it does feel more like active, but it's also like hiking and
Yeah.
riding a bike or whatever. It's outside. You're like if you're going to the Cliffs of Moher or whatever, you're not gonna like sit there pondering for hours. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna see it. You're gonna take pictures. You might sit there for a little while. I
Yeah.
mean, I want to,
Mm-hmm.
and then but then it's like, all right, so what are we gonna do
Yeah.
now? And so it's like this one feels like I need to like come back a little bit because I don't want it to be because
Too
I
full.
like the same thing as you. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm more like when feels overpacked
Mm-hmm.
every day there's an activity that really stresses me out.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to know that there's going to be some downtime
Yeah.
so that I can decide not to do anything.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. And also like different styles of like I don't want to get dressed up every single day
Yeah.
and go
To a fancy dinner.
yeah, go to a fancy
Yeah, because
dinner.
I'm like day two, like depending on the length of the vacation, like day 3, 4, I don't want to wear makeup anymore. I'm like done with wearing
Especially
makeup.
on the beach. Like I don't really think I'm going to feel that way in Ireland. Like like at first I was like I don't want to be in any cities. I just want to be with landscape, but someone's like you got to go hang out in a pub in Ireland. They're like it's a
Yeah.
cool experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like I'm being really close-minded. I'm like all right.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
And
But you don't have to get dressed up for that.
yeah. So like but like Nanny and Steve get dressed up every time they go to dinner. Every
Yeah.
time.
No, yeah, I know.
So and like really dressed
Sometimes
up on
that
some.
feels like pressure to me
Me
because I'm
too.
like, I don't have clothes to do
That's
that.
how I feel.
I literally like do not own them
Yeah, me
to
either.
be that. And I
Yeah.
have like 2 dresses that are nice
Yeah.
and I've worn them so many times that like they're
Yeah,
getting
people
ready
are
to be
sick of
old.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I don't have the attire to keep up.
Yeah. I'm like, the nice thing for me is like if I decide to throw on some actual pants
Yeah,
that aren't leggings or
Yeah.
like sweatpants.
Yeah.
And a nice shirt maybe.
So I just think you have to. It's like setting boundaries, but also like being upfront and honest.
Yeah, clear
Like
expectations.
this is what I need. Like needing to know that you're not going to be ready till the afternoon,
Yeah.
and that I need to eat at certain time periods, and that Steve likes to have activities planned. He doesn't. That's too much sitting is like stressful for him.
Yeah.
So I think they're finding a balance really helps when you're doing family vacations. I know some people. I have a friend who makes an itinerary and she makes it all fancy, like in Canva or something like that, and like they have everything planned, ready to go. And that works for some people, but yeah, it definitely doesn't work for me.
Mm-mm, me neither. But I also
Excuse
think
me.
too that like it has to like you have to understand both ways.
Yeah.
Like whereas like that doesn't work for us, like that has to be okay that it doesn't work for us for Steve and Annie. And then because it doesn't work for them, we have to be okay that that doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
But sometimes the way that it gets messed up is where their expectations of what they need are forced upon us,
Yeah.
or our expectations of what we need are forced upon them.
Yeah.
So like then that's when it's like, okay, well, I don't want to just sit and do something that's stressing me out, so you also have to do the thing that doesn't stress me out.
Yeah.
When like
No.
that doesn't work.
I think what would be perfect is understanding that everybody can go in separate directions, and that
And no guilt.
yeah, and there's no passive aggressive stuff happening. It really is fine. You're going paddleboarding for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting you to come back right now.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting you to come. I'll see you later. Who knows when? Maybe
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
And so I think that is part of it as well. Like everybody's going to go and do their separate things,
Yeah.
and then we can come back and we can meet here, or or
Yeah.
maybe having an ending
Yeah, like
destination.
we can
And yeah,
have a couple of things that are
yeah,
planned and
yeah,
set for us all,
yeah,
but then also like making the things that some people want planned and set just optional.
yeah. That's a good one.
Like
It's an
not
option.
making it
Yeah,
mandatory.
because Nanny was telling me about, because we're going to California to see Uncle Dex
Yeah.
and Falcon and Copper in November at Thanksgiving,
Hmm.
and Nanny is like giving me the itinerary of the day right in the middle of me trying to work, and I was like, wait a second, hold on,
Yeah.
like I wasn't prepared to take
Yeah.
the information in yet, and then and she said that Stephen, Dex, and Falcon were going to a football game, and I'm like, wait a minute, I want to go to a football game. So I
Yeah.
was really upset that
Yeah.
they didn't include me.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we'll be with the girls. I'm like, I don't want to be with the girls.
Yeah.
I want to be at the
At
football game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even care if it's with the boys. It's just that at the
At the
football
game, yeah.
Yeah, so that was funny, but I know it will end up being fun with her and
Yeah.
Copper. So
Yeah.
I know it'll be fine. But I said, I'm like, I want to go to Mosaic on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can Uber if I have to.
Yeah.
Like I want to figure out how to get to Mosaic, because that's what I want to. And
Yeah.
I want to go by myself.
Yeah.
Like I want to go I just want to go by myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to experience it with anyone else. And it's not a jab on anyone. It's
Yeah.
just that I just, that's
Need that time by yourself.
yeah, I need that time by
Yeah.
myself. And like I might need to go walk by myself sometimes. I remember when I went with Dex and Amelia to Hawaii, and Amelia like told me in advance that they were going to have some private quiet reading time, and that nobody was to talk at that point. And I was like, okay. And I felt at first kind of insulted. I was like, all right. But I'm like, that's totally fine. I understand now why she said that, because
Yeah.
she wanted to
She's
prepare
like,
me.
don't talk to me during this time.
She wanted to
Yeah.
prepare me for like her needing some space, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
And so I took that literally. I was
Yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah.
So one day we like the house that we stayed at was actually in a movie, The Descendants. So there was the house, and then a beautiful huge backyard, and then the ocean, like the Pacific Ocean. And then so it was like right there, like the beach. It was right off the house.
Yeah.
And which was absolutely perfect,
Yeah.
beautiful. And so we went and drove around, and when we found like another private beach, basically that's what we were on already, but a different private beach, and we got out of the car and like went swimming, and which was fun. That was fun. And then but they wanted to do that again, and we were gonna drive for like an hour and a half. And I was like, I don't want to drive in the
Yeah,
car.
I can
And
take 10
Falcon was
steps
like
outside.
2 or 3. Like he was in
Yeah,
that
little.
toddler age. And I'm like, this isn't fun for him to be driving in the car.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to skip this. I'm going to
Yeah.
stay here. And then they left, and Dex calls me, and he's like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I just want to make sure you weren't mad or anything. I'm like,
No.
I thought you said it was okay to like
Yeah.
do your own thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wish that I had gone ziplining
Mm.
in Hawaii. Like I really regret not going ziplining.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, Amelia thought you were mad. I'm like, I'm not mad. Are you mad? But
Yeah.
they were kind of like, well, you didn't come. You didn't want to spend time with the family.
I
You're
know.
right. I didn't want to spend time with a
Yeah.
toddler driving an hour and a half to a beach that was going to look exactly like the beach that was
Right outside.
literally a minute
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
I don't even think it would take me 60 seconds to get
Yeah.
to the beach. So it was weird.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It's like, and also when you say you don't want to feel any guilt or have anyone act passive aggressive about it, it's also you yourself being like, I'm not going to accept that.
Yeah.
So it's you setting that boundary for yourself.
Mhm.
Like you want to make me feel guilty. That's fine. That's your personality. But I am not going to own that, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel guilty about the thing that I need.
Yeah.
So I think that's important too. That's a hard lesson for me.
Yeah.
I can easily be guilted, but
Yeah.
also I can be a jerk sometimes and like not think of the other person's feelings, and that's not very nice. So yeah. Yeah. So
I feel like the guilt is definitely like I feel that way too. And I think I feel like that more specifically with Nanny, because I'm like I mean, she's not like super young, So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to be able to
Yeah.
spend like all the time that I can with her. Like I know she's like 21,
Yeah.
like mentally,
Yeah.
but I'm like, and then when she's like, oh, you didn't want to do this, I'm like, well, like, should I have, like, am I gonna regret that later on,
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I think about it like
No.
that, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't really do that either because right now this is what I need, and like
Yeah.
that's just gonna have to be
Yeah.
okay.
And also, it's the expectation of the vacation. Like
Yeah.
you and Jake saw it as this is a vacation that you so desperately needed,
Yeah.
but then you didn't have a part where it could just be you and Jake.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I
Mm-hmm.
think, but it's also communicating that.
Yeah.
Like this is, we are going to have to take some, I mean, like, even though I was insulted when Amelia said that to me about we're going to have quiet reading time, in a way, and in hindsight, she prepared me for like, can you please stop talking? Like that
Yeah.
would have been way more hurtful.
Yeah.
So telling me in advance
Yeah.
that's what they need, like
Yeah.
that's okay. I mean, she might have said it in a different way,
Yeah.
but it's all right.
Yeah.
I think because I think I have to say that sometimes.
Yeah.
And another thing, like Steve gets really anxious if we don't get to the airport super early. But that makes me anxious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to sit in the airport for 3 or 4 hours waiting for the flight. That really stresses me out because then
Yeah.
we have to be on the plane for hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I get like, that makes me have anxiety. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just knowing that about each other and being like, okay, I'm going to be at the airport forever.
Jake's family is the other extreme.
Oh yeah, that would be worse.
That drives
would
me
be worse.
because when we went to Pennsylvania, like I'd never traveled with them.
Yeah.
But like, because I'm the 2 hours before. Like I'm like
Yeah.
because you don't like getting to the airport 2 hours before, not sitting and waiting for 2 hours. So that way like you can go through security and whatever and have like an hour singular to like go to the bathroom and make sure your gate exists and you know get snacks and whatever. But
yeah, I do like to have time for that
because I don't want to feel like I'm rushing.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to feel like I'm waiting forever. But we got there and we were like, I felt like we were running a little late because we had security was so rough. Like it was really rough.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad we got here like at the time we did. And we get there and it's only like probably 20 minutes. And so we're gonna like board.
Yeah.
And they're not even at the airport.
Oh crap.
And I was like, this is insane to me. Like this does not make any sense.
Did they have to check bags or were they just carrying on?
I think they were just carrying on. But I was like, still.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna board in 20 minutes and you haven't even gotten to the airport. You haven't even parked your car.
But what would be the worst case scenario? They didn't make the flight and you guys made the flight and you're fine?
And that's what Jake, because it was like stressing me out for them.
Yeah.
But then Jake was like, well, worst comes to worst, like we get on the plane and they don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's true. So, and then I was like, it's fine. But because we were able to get there with enough time. But on the way back home, all of our travel plans
was together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luckily, we were flying out of a teeny tiny airport that had literally literally was the size of, it was probably smaller than our house.
Yeah.
Like
wow.
you walk in and like the same person that checks your bag is like flying the plane basically. So like when we got there with like 15 minutes to spare, they were like, "Oh, you got some time."
Yeah.
You know, like it was
That's
fine.
funny. Yeah.
So I was like,
small airports sometimes
God.
are really good in that way. Like the Hawaii airport is actually pretty little as well. And it sucked on the way back because you had to have your suitcases checked for like you weren't taking fruits and vegetables. You weren't like
yeah.
And you weren't taking their stuff. But it was a long line because there wasn't a bunch of people working there, so it was a long line of that. But it's good for what you just said.
Yeah. And I was like, thank God this is the on the way back situation. Because if it was like, if we were in a big city and we were traveling how they would, I would have lost my freaking mind.
Yeah. So I guess it's all comes down to expectations.
Yeah.
And what you can.
And clearly communicating with each other.
Clearly communicating. I feel like for the Ireland trip, like there's things that I really want to do, but like it's a lot of walking and I know that Nanny won't be able to do a lot of walking. So there'll be things that I'm going to do by myself. Mm-hmm. And I want them to be okay with that. But
Yeah.
I'll be a little bit more open to like whatever they want to do when we go to England and if we get to go to Paris. But then they can like I'll
Am I
go.
invited on these trips? I want to
This
come.
is the same trip. This
Ugh.
is yeah. This is the same trip.
Where's my invite? I want to come.
So yeah, I'll be like whatever you want. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I like feel like I have wanted to go to Ireland for so long. So
Yeah.
not that I don't want to see like I hope that we end up going to Paris at least for a day. Like I want to at
Mm-hmm.
least see it. But and I am excited to go, back to England. I mean, I haven't been there since I was a little kid, so I don't
Yeah.
really remember. But yeah, like Ireland, the whole thing, like it just sounds, I'm just excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anything that we need to include? I mean, I feel really grateful for these
For
experiences.
sure.
I definitely, and I felt really grateful that they got the house at the beach because I
Yeah.
wanted Kobe to be able to swim.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was so nice of them. And
Yeah.
Steve was like, I only did it for you. And I was like, what? Because I complained about it on Instagram. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Oh, sometimes I don't mean to complain. I don't mean to like sound like an ungrateful, spoiled brat.
No, I don't think that's true. But I do think that like we have been like very like privileged in the last
Yeah.
like years
Yeah.
to be able to do the things that we
Yeah.
can do, and to even like be sitting here and be like, yeah, it was nice to be in the 3-story beach house.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
some people are like can't even like go down the street for an
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
So like we're definitely lucky and blessed
No, you're
to
right.
have those opportunities.
For
Like
sure.
no matter how they look, and like
Yeah.
that doesn't lessen the fact that sometimes things aren't as great,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
it also like is important to remember that we're
Absolutely.
lucky for
Yeah.
those experiences
Yeah.
and grateful, and we're both grateful.
Yeah.
And I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So like if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, they're so ungrateful about this, like that's not true.
Yeah.
There are things that like are harder, and that's true for any situation, no
Yeah.
matter what you're talking
There's also
about.
been different times of life when it was like
When we
even
didn't.
when we went to Orlando, like that was a lot. That took a lot
Mhm.
for us to even have any kind of vacation at all.
Yeah.
And when I was divorced and the Knights invited us to North Carolina, that was a huge like blessing. And then Dex they flew us to California.
Mhm.
I couldn't have given you guys vacations.
Yeah.
And Alexis gave us, tickets to
Adventure
Adventure Island. Like I couldn't do any of those things without those people. So
Yeah.
it was no, you're right. It's just been different times of life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, I was gonna say like we're just like we're in the time where we get to do those things now,
Yeah.
and like we're grateful for that.
For sure.
All right, well, my finger is stabbing pain right now. I pinched my finger in the pantry door today, so that's really fun.
Ouch.
But we will see you next week. If you're not caught up on all the podcasts, there's now some for you to listen to.
Yeah.
So you should go and do that. Subscribe to the podcast on YouTube or wherever you listen as well. And since you love us so much, you can leave a 5-star review so that other people can find us as well. And if you have any questions that you want us to answer on the podcast, there's a link below where you can ask them, or you can always just DM us and ask us there. So, yeah, that's it.
All right.
Have a good day.